For a long time, I believed happiness was something that I had to earn. It was waiting for me somewhere in the future. Like maybe when my business made more money, maybe when I reached a certain goal, or maybe when life finally looked the way that I imagined it would. I was always chasing someday. But lately, something feels like it's shifted. And honestly, it's one of the biggest changes that I've experienced over the last year. I'm still building my business, and I'm still working towards my goals, and I'm still figuring a lot of things out. But somewhere along the way, I stopped waiting for my life to start. Instead, I've been learning how to enjoy the life I'm living right now. And today, I just want to have a little heart to heart with you about that. Hey, friend. Welcome back to Sparkle and Shine. I'm your host, Cassandra, and this is the podcast where we talk about building a small business, chasing your dreams, and learning the real lessons along the way. Each week, I'll be sharing what I'm learning in my own business, the wins, the struggles, and the lessons that come along with it. So if you're building something of your own too, you're definitely in the right place. All right, let's get into today's episode. Lately, life has actually been pretty simple. I'm in the middle of market season, so some days I'm packing up the car before heading out to an event, and other days I'm just home catching up on work, enjoying the weather, or maybe spending some time outside. But what I've really noticed isn't necessarily that my schedule has changed, it's that I have. Every morning lately, I've been starting my day with intention. I take out my 2 decks of cards that I bought from Five Below, and I draw one mantra card and one affirmation card, and then I head outside. I take a photo of each of them, and then usually I'll pair them with a song that fits the message before I share them on my stories. Then, after all of that, I come back inside, I crack open my summer Red Bull to get my caffeine started for the day, crank up some music, and just ease into whatever I have going on that day. That might not sound like anything revolutionary, but a year ago, I don't think I would have slowed down enough to appreciate those little moments. Back then, I was always thinking about what needed to happen next. And now, I'm trying to actually be where my feet are. So, one of the things that I've really been paying attention to lately is what actually lights me up. I'm not talking about the huge milestones, just the tiny ones, like watching butterflies flutter through the yard, seeing dragonflies while I'm sitting outside, looking up because the sky is especially pretty today, listening to my favorite songs while I dance around the kitchen, watching the birds from my back steps, seeing fresh flowers, putting on a pair of shorts that didn't fit me before, and even ending the day by spending an hour or two just talking with my husband before bed. None of those moments are flashy, and none of them are things that I probably would post as some big, huge accomplishment. But altogether, they've been reminding me that life isn't made up of just the big milestones. It's made up of hundreds of tiny moments that we either notice or we miss. And lately, I've been trying really hard not to miss them. All right, if I'm being honest, I think all of the personal work that I've been doing over the last year is finally starting to catch up with me. I've been healing from burnout, working on my mindset, journaling again, learning to regulate my nervous system, giving myself permission to rest without feeling guilty, and trusting my own intuition more. I really don't think there was one single moment where everything changed. But around my birthday this year, something just felt different. Leading up to my birthday, I remember feeling kind of heavy, almost like this cloud was just hanging over me. And I was thinking about getting older, wondering if if I'm where I thought I'd be by now. And honestly, it really just wasn't a great headspace. But not long after that, it was almost like the cloud lifted. It's really hard to explain. The best way I can describe it is this: I don't really feel like I've become someone new, but I feel like I've remembered who I've been all along. The version of me that's colorful, creative, optimistic, a little bit whimsical. The version of me that notices beauty in everyday life. I think she was always there. She had just gotten buried underneath the stress and the burnout for a long time. I think that one of the biggest changes I've noticed is that I'm starting to make decisions based on what feels authentic to me, not based on what I think everyone else will approve of. And that shows up in little ways, like wearing the shorts that I didn't realize fit me, or buying the colorful dress that I would normally only purchase in black, and sharing what's actually on my heart, or running my business in a way that feels aligned with me. Of course, I still care what people think. I want people to enjoy my jewelry. I want listeners to enjoy this podcast. But I'm not letting other people's opinions drive every single decision anymore. I finally realized I don't need permission to be myself. So, what's really funny is that there's actually been some really exciting things happening recently. The podcast officially crossed 1,000 downloads, and that still feels really surreal to me. Also, there are now listeners in 39 countries and 22 states. Sometimes I have to stop and remind myself that people all over the world have chosen to spend part of their day listening to this little podcast. And then another milestone happened. I got my very first paid Substack subscriber. That one honestly shocked me. Not because of who it was, but because it was the first tangible reminder that this little community is beginning to support what I'm creating in a new way. It also lit a little fire under me because now I actually have to create the paid content. Those milestones, they made me incredibly happy. But here's what's really interesting. They weren't the reason I've been happy lately. They were celebrations, but they weren't the source of my joy. And I think that's a really important distinction. For so many years, happiness always felt like it was waiting somewhere in the future. When I reached the goal, when I made more money, when life looked different, when I finally felt like I'd made it. But lately, I've realized I don't want to spend my whole life chasing someday. I want to enjoy today. I want to notice the butterflies, listen to the music, laugh with my husband, celebrate the little wins, keep building my dreams without forgetting to live while I'm building them. Because the truth is, tomorrow isn't promised. This season won't last forever. And I don't want to look back 20 years from now wishing I had appreciated the life I was already living. So before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one question. Where are you waiting for someday? Is there something you've been postponing until life feels more perfect? Maybe it's wearing the outfit. Maybe it's taking the trip. Maybe it's starting the hobby. Or maybe it's slowing down long enough to notice what's already beautiful about your life. Because here's what I'm learning. Happiness used to feel like someday, but now happiness feels like a choice. So thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope this little conversation reminds you to slow down, look around, and appreciate the season that you're in, even if it isn't exactly where you thought you would be. Until next time, keep showing up with heart, believe in yourself, and keep shining.